this case, the court has been pretty impressed with the ability and perspicacity, if I can use that word, of counsel in anticipating a set of issues and developing them.
I never thought I'd be riding in the street on a boat.
This area is designed to hold that water if necessary. It's unfortunate for y'all, but that's how it's designed.
Hi, my name's Armi Easterby. I'm a lawyer here in Houston, Texas. I became involved in the case in about November of 2017. This flooding happened. The federal government flooded all these folks. So the Court of Federal Claims, which is a special court in Washington, D.C., had a hearing here in Houston and asked the lawyers, if you want to be one of the court-appointed lawyers that's going to lead the case, make your application, and I did. In this case, in this instance, the federal government decided it would be a good idea to impose flooding on private lands with no legal right. The purpose of this project, Addicks and Barker Dams and Reservoirs, which are located in West Houston, about a mile west of Highway 6, they're there to hold back and control all the rainfall runoff that accumulates in like a 400 square mile area. Problem is, they only bought about 50% of the land that they needed to hold that water. They could have bought all that land for another $800,000. Today, that land is developed. There's homes there, there's neighborhoods there, schools, hospitals, everything. And today it would cost $10 billion to buy all that land out. And in the 70s, they really looked at this carefully. Like, we are going to flood these people. This area is about to get developed. We should buy the land now. What it did essentially was made a bet. And the bet they made was it will be cheaper for the government to pay the claims of the landowners who get flooded as opposed to just buying all the land outright. But $800,000 to $10 billion is a really big difference. Should these communities still exist now that it's known that they're in an area that's designed to flood? I mean, they're literally inside of a federal flood control reservoir area, and some maps that showed exactly which homes upstream they would flood when an event like Harvey came through. So we had to prove the government intended to flood the upstream folks. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't some negligent situation, but it was intended. And those maps, which showed that before the water backed up, none of these folks had flooded. And that helped us prove that Harvey did not flood these people. The federal government flooded these people. We did win the case. We concluded the trial. About 6 months later, we got a written decision from the court finding that the government is liable under the Fifth Amendment for taking the upstream property by flooding it during and after Harvey. I remember this one client, before, she was telling me how she didn't think the civil justice system worked, and she didn't have any confidence in it at all. And after this, she talked about how this has made her believe that our civil justice system actually is fair. And that's really one of the reasons I wanted to be a lawyer. Was it doesn't matter how many folks they can have the whole world behind them. If you've got right on your side and the law supports your case, you can win. And that's what I thought was so cool about being a lawyer, is you can have a level playing field even when you're up against the federal government and you're just one lawyer in Houston, Texas.